Every single software project, whether it's huge or tiny, runs into the same core challenge. How do you make sure you're building something that actually delivers real value? Because getting that wrong, well, it's not just a headache, it's incredibly expensive. So today, we're going to dig into a practice that's designed to solve exactly that problem.
42%. Yeah, you heard that right. According to the Standish Group's famous chaos report, that's how many software projects are either challenged, meaning they're late, over budget, or missing key features, or they just fail outright. Almost half. This isn't just a small hiccup. It's a massive industry-wide problem of wasted time, money, and frankly, passion.
And we're not talking about small amounts of money here. The scale of these failures can be absolutely staggering. Just look at this example. A U.S. Air Force project was scrapped after 7 years and over $1 billion spent. And what did they get for it? Nothing. No significant military capability. $1 billion, completely gone. That's the real cost of building software that just doesn't hit the mark. So why on earth does this keep happening? Well, these failures usually boil down to two big problems. First, you've got the question, did we build the thing right? That's all about technical quality. Is the code clean? Is it reliable? But the second question is arguably even more important. Did we build the right thing? Does this software actually do what the business and the users needed to do? The goal, of course, is that top right corner, where great engineering meets real business value. The tragedy is just how many projects get stuck everywhere else.
So what's the root cause? Why do so many teams end up in the wrong quadrant? Well, it often comes down to something very simple and very human. A total breakdown in communication. It's the classic lost in translation problem.
I mean, just think about the traditional process. It works exactly like that game of telephone we played as kids. The business owner has an idea, so they tell an analyst. The analyst tries to capture that in a big requirements document. The developer then has to translate that document into code. And then a tester has to take that same document and translate it again into test cases to check the code.
Now here's the critical part. Every single one of those handoffs, every time the idea gets translated from one person to the next, is a chance for things to go wrong. Key details get dropped, assumptions are made, and context is lost. By the time you get to the end of that chain, the thing you built might look nothing like what the business owner actually wanted in the first place.
So, how do we stop playing this broken game of telephone? Well, that's where behavior-driven development, or BDD, comes into the picture. And I want to be clear, this isn't just another new tool or some rigid process. It's a fundamental shift in thinking. It's about moving from handoffs to collaboration.
With BDD, you replace those siloed, over-the-wall handoffs with a continuous conversation. Instead of relying on these huge, dense documents that nobody really reads, you focus on simple, concrete examples that everyone can understand. And crucially, instead of waiting until the very end to find out if you built the wrong thing, you get that feedback super early and often. It completely changes the dynamic.
And you can really see the difference right here. Look at the left, that's the old way. It's this tangled one-way street of handoffs and translations. But now look at the right, that's the BDD approach. It's a collaborative loop. You've got business folks, developers, and testers all in it together, from the very beginning, all focused on a shared understanding of what needs to be built.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? A collaborative loop, shared understanding, but how does it actually work in practice? How do you take these nice conversations and turn them into actual working software?
It all starts with a shared language. BDD uses a really simple, structured format, often called Gherkin, and it uses 3 key words: given, when, then. This structure lets you describe exactly how a feature should behave, using a concrete example. Given some starting condition, when a user does something, then this is the result we expect. It's so simple that literally anyone, from the CEO down to a brand new developer, can read this and know exactly what the software is supposed to do. No ambiguity.
But, and this is where the real magic of BDD happens, these plain English examples aren't just for meeting notes. They become what's known as an executable specification. Think about that. It's a specification, a description of what to build, that is also an automated test. It perfectly bridges that gap between what the business wants and the code that makes it happen.
And this diagram shows how the whole lifecycle comes together. You take that simple Gherkin scenario we just saw, and developers link each line to little snippets of code. When the test suite runs, it actually executes that code and checks if the outcome matches what was described. The result? A clear, readable report that proves the feature works exactly as intended. The example, the test, and the documentation are all one and the same thing. It's a single source of truth. And the ultimate payoff for doing all this is something incredibly powerful, something that most teams really struggle with. Documentation that is actually clear, accurate, and is always up to date.
When you collect all of these executable specifications and their test reports, you create what's called living documentation. Project managers can see exactly what's been done, testers know what's covered, and business stakeholders can look at these reports and see for themselves that the features they asked for have been built and are working correctly. And because it's all generated automatically every time the tests run, it can never get out of sync with the actual software.
So, in the end, BDD isn't just some cool technical practice. It delivers real, bottom-line business results. You slash waste because you're only building features that everyone agrees are valuable. You lower your costs because you catch bugs way earlier and do far less rework. Making changes becomes safer and easier because you have a whole suite of automated checks to back you up. And all of that leads to what everyone wants: faster, more confident releases.
At the end of the day, BDD is about so much more than just a process. It's really about changing the conversation so you can make sure that everyone is focused on building the right things in the right way.
And that leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Think about the last feature your team shipped. Were there any last-minute surprises? Did you have to do a bunch of rework? Were there any misunderstandings along the way? It's a really important question to ask: how much is being lost in translation on your team?